Oh man, where do we want to start? We could start by pointing out the fact that I picked the Bills to lose, and they won, which is another one of my predictions going the opposite way, which completely damages my credibility. I don't know how I get like 700 to like 1,000 views on this thing, but I appreciate it nonetheless. It just goes to show you how unpredictable of a team the Bills are. They give up 135 points over 3 games. They go into Kansas City, who was 5-0 at one point. Like, who would have thought the Bills were winning this game a month ago? Like, this was a surefire loss. Like, the Bills had to have 6 wins in the bank before they got to here if they had any dream of getting to 9, right? Now, we coming into the game, the Bills have lost 3 in a row. The Chiefs have lost 4 out of 5. Now they've lost 5 out of 6. They look terrible, and like I said last week, something's got to give, and I would not have predicted it to be the Chiefs. You know, I guess maybe I said that the wrong way. I would not have predicted it for it to be the Bills' 135 points, like getting run over, getting walked on defense to end over the Chiefs' 4 out of 5 game losing streak. But Bills came to play. I know some like buzzwords this week were like gap sound and like gap integrity and things like that. Back to the basics, back to the fundamentals, which personally I don't like. I may have said this before. I don't like the back to the basics thing. We just need to get back to basics, back to fundamentals. I know that's like such coach speak and like media speak, and again, lying to the media, not a big deal to me at all. But like, everybody knows the basics. If you're like, yeah, well, we're just going to go out there and do the basics, well then I think you're going to be pretty predictable, because every player knows the basics. They've been playing the game since they were like 4 or 5 years old for the most part. Every coach knows the basics. So if you're going back to the basics, you're going to be a very predictable team. That's just how I look at it. Anyway, Bills get the win. 16-10 over the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Very uncharacteristic game for the Chiefs, for an Andy Reid team. Well, I mean, you could say there's plenty of Andy Reid jokes out there, but like, I mean, what they do well, what they did well for the first 6 weeks of the season, whatever, they're just not good at it anymore. Alex Smith, honestly, I think kind of looked like Tyrod Taylor. Like a bad Tyrod Taylor game is what Alex Smith did on Sunday. 23 of 36, $199, a touchdown, 5 carries, 35 yards. Moved his chains with his legs a little bit. Did a couple nice passing plays, and then had the drive to win the game and threw the interception. It's like exactly what Tyrod Taylor has done a bunch of times. And it happened to Alex Smith, which is uncharacteristic of him, I think. And, you know, they just never really got anything going. Like, Travis Kelce had 4 targets, 3 catches for 39 yards. They hit that big long one down the seam for the first down that ends up leading to a touchdown. They might have even hit him 2 times on that drive. And, like, they just don't go back to him. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. But, hey, I'll take it all day. Like, Kareem Hunt, I'll talk in a second. Tyreek Hill, 11 targets, but 7 receptions for 41 yards. Kareem Hunt, 11 carries for 17 yards. 1 catch on 1 target for 9 yards. 12 touches for 26 yards. What is that about? So I think this is more about, like, the Chiefs might actually be worse than the Bills. They might. And now I know for a fact that us, as Bills fans, are rooting for the Chargers to overtake that division. You have to be. Because the Bills don't have the tiebreaker with the Chargers. They do have the tiebreaker with the Chiefs. They do have the tiebreaker with the Raiders. The Broncos have fallen out of it, but like they have those tiebreakers. So we need the Chargers to win the division. That way the Chiefs can fall into the wildcard spot, and if they stumble to 9-7, the Bills have the tiebreaker with them. So that would be huge. And there's a lot of stuff going on in the AFC. You kind of have to just let it play out, see how it falls. But, you know, I'll talk about that, I guess, in a second. Right now, the Bills are 6-5. They are still in the hunt because the Ravens won on Monday Night Football, and the Ravens technically have the tiebreaker right now. But there's a lot of scenarios that can still play out. Cincinnati's not even out of it, and they have the tiebreaker with the Bills. You know, Jacksonville and Tennessee don't really look that good, but they're 7-4. Somebody's got to win the division. Maybe some of them could fall to 9-7. That's very possible. And it's December, and the Bills are like 6-5. They're over 500. So what happens? Of course, they still have 2 games against New England, right? That's exactly how it would play out. We're 6-5. We're above 500. It's December. It's after Thanksgiving. We're in it. Of course, we still have to play New England 2 times. I mean, I could preview New England for you. I guess I will in a couple minutes here, but, like, you basically know all that already. What do you need me to tell you? Really, it's Tom Brady, it's Bill Belichick, it's the same story. I'll give you some fun numbers, I guess, but anyway. It's tough staring at New England 2 times, but you got 3 winnable games left with Miami twice and Indy. 5 games, 3 opponents. That should make things a little bit easier, I would think. 3 straight home games. Like, so you're 6-5 now, get to 8-6, right? And see what happens. Then you're staring at New England, at Miami, Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. Like, it could be a rough holiday season for Bills fans. It could be the most joyous ever. Or at least in the past, decade and a half, or 2 decades almost. Hopefully. So get to 8-6 and see what happens. You can't really control what anybody else is doing. You can beat New England, but you're gonna be scoreboard watching the rest of the way because you got no control over Baltimore. Like I said, no control over Cincinnati and all that. All that is done. So my goal would be to get to, or at least from a fan's perspective, is to just get to 8-6 and then sort of see how it plays out with the last 2 games. Really good chance at 9-7, I'd say. I think that most fans would agree with that. Really good chance at 9-7, but is that going to be good enough? How are the tiebreakers going to pan out? There's a million scenarios right now. I don't really even know what to tell you. Like I said earlier, what's Jacksonville? Like, their defense is unbelievable, but they keep scoring touchdowns. They just keep doing it. And they even lost last week to Arizona. Like, Tennessee doesn't look good on offense, but they're winning games. They're not in a great division. Like, Tom Savage is in a division. Like, Baltimore's offense is pathetic, but they're good on defense. And then maybe people are saying this about the Bills, too. Like, the Bills are 6-5. They're still, it's like, oh, come on. They're like, at least what they did with Peterman, like, Tyrod Taylor's their quarterback. And, yeah, whatever. Like, and their defense is inconsistent. Yeah, you can make those points, too. Who's got the best quarterbacks, I guess? Mariota, Joe Flacco, Tyrod Taylor, Alex Smith, Phil Rivers, Andy Dalton. Like, none of these guys are blowing anybody out of the water other than, in my opinion, Philip Rivers. But, here I go opening the quarterback can of worms again. Like, you know what, and just to bring up a point, like, during the game, like, the Bills punted on their first 3 possessions, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, this is, like, we're supposed to be okay with this. Like, this is why the decision to go to Peterman was made. Okay? Like, the Bills scored 16 points on the road. Is that good? No. Let's be real. Like, the defense played well. Like, Tyrod made some really nice plays, made some really nice throws. He always does. But is 16 points enough on the road? The answer is no. Like, he basically got you to 17 against Atlanta. They got a defensive touchdown. Like, the Bills obviously aren't blowing anybody out, at least on the road. They kind of blew out Oakland. They needed a defensive play to come back and beat Tampa Bay, but they did score 30 points, so I guess I can't complain there. But, like, just because this is, like I said, this is just why the Tyrod thing conversation is open. Why Sean McDermott is thinking ahead. Why he made the move to Peterman. It was a mistake, clearly a mistake. But, like, he was like, wow, we need to be a threat on offense, and we're just not consistently enough a threat. We're just going 3 and out all the time. And not that the Bills were going 3 and out on Sunday all the time, but, like, I have a gripe there too. But, like, just because he doesn't turn the ball over doesn't make him an effective quarterback. He's good. I like Tyrod Taylor. I think he's good. I really do. But at the same time, like, I need production. Like, at the end of the game, I need those first downs. I don't want to turn the ball back over by punting, which is essentially a turnover, and trust my defense. Like, no, I would rather just get that 3rd and 11 or that 1st and 10 and just, Rick Dennison's talking about making them use their timeouts and stuff. It's just like, just get the first down. Like, you can try the first down run and make them use their timeouts. Fine, I agree with that. Try the first down run and see if you can get 4 or 6 yards, and then you can do things with it. But then it's 2nd and 10. The draw play to Tyrod might be a 2nd and 10 play because you're still going to make him use your timeouts, and he's a threat running the football, but you can spread people out. Like, it's just so predictable. The Bills got the ball back on that 4th down turnover on the incompletion to Hill and Poyer where they collided, and then they took like 10 seconds, maybe 15 seconds off the clock and punted it back. And with 2:20 to go or whatever it was, like, who's comfortable in that situation? You can have confidence in your defense, sure, but who's comfortable in that situation? Like, I know that the term, or the phrase, like, control your own destiny is, like, a weird thing. They control their own destiny in a playoff race and whatever. Like, but you control your own destiny in the game right there. You get this first down, you're probably going to win it. You pick up that 3rd and 11, you're going to win. And they call a quarterback draw. Like, I would rather throw in that situation. And granted, they weren't set up because they're not really set up to gain 11 yards in the passing game. Like, right? Like, that's not their strength. 3rd and 11. Like, if they're on 3rd down, they're more of a 3rd and 4, 3rd and 6 type of team because Tyrod can escape with his legs. They can complete short passes. But, like, wow. Like, there is play calling and there is execution, and that to me was all play calling. I didn't like that situation at all. And, like, going back to defense, I didn't like that stupid penalty on E.J. Gaines. Thank God the Bills won that game because I would never be able to talk about that play ever again. Ever. Just, wow. The NFL would have single-handedly extended the Bills' drought almost. Thank you, Tre'Davious White. Anyway, the Bills are 6-5, and Tom Brady is coming to town. That was sort of a pun on Santa Claus is coming to town, but it was a bad one, and I admit that. So, here we go. Tom Brady, 26-3. I mean, 26-2 if you don't count that Week 17 meaningless game where he came out at halftime against the Bills. His 2 losses are in Buffalo, if you want to look at it there. But since his 2011 loss, here we go, let's check this out. Since his 2011 loss against the Bills, in, what was that, Week 3 it was, I believe the Bills went to 3-0 after that, right? Anyway, since then, Tom Brady in Buffalo, 22 of 36, 343 touchdowns, 52-28 win. 29 of 52, 2 touchdowns and a pick, 23-21 win. That was on opening day. The Bills almost won that. I think Gostkowski kicked a field goal as time expired to win that. 27 of 37, 361, 4 touchdowns, 37-22 win. 38 of 59, 466, 3 touchdowns, 40-32 win. And last year, 22 of 33, 315, 4 touchdowns, 41-25 win. Whew. More of that on the way. Here it comes. You know what it is, guys? It's the Patriots. It's Brady. It's Belichick. It doesn't matter who the weapons are. It's Gronkowski who kills the Bills. I think the only time he hasn't scored a touchdown in Buffalo, he had like 7 catches for 94 yards. He's going to impact the game. He gets over 7 to 8 targets a game. You know that. No Edelman, that should help. But like Amendola seems to sometimes fit seamlessly into that role, at least against the Bills. It just feels that way. I know he's really only had like 2 or 3 good games against the Bills with the Patriots, but it just feels like he just seamlessly fills that role. He gets about 6 targets a game from Brady. The running backs get about 9 or 10 almost, I think. About 9 targets a game from Brady. Like that's Lewis, that's Burkhead, that's White. Cooks gets about 7 to 8. So like they pass the ball a lot, and 7 to 8 times it's to Cooks, 7 or 8 times it's to Gronkowski, 6 times Amendola, and 9 times to the running back. Like, what's that? 8, 16, 22, just 31 pass attempts right there, basically, right? And then like 1 or 2 to other people. So, up to like 35 to 40 pass attempts. There they are. I mean, that's the kind of stats I've been pulling lately. Like, they use Lewis in the running game. They use Burkhead in the running game a little bit. I mean, but they only average 45 and 23 yards rushing a game, respectively. Lewis 45, Burkhead 23. Gillislee doesn't even play. The Patriots just signed him to use him for a couple games and then keep him away from the Bills, apparently, which is fine. I like Tre'Davious Cadet. I think Tre'Davious Cadet is finally the competent number 2 running back the Bills need to LaShawn McCoy, because he's like a poor man's LaShawn McCoy. He is capable of running the ball. He's capable of catching the ball. He's good in the screen game. Like, he can block a little bit. Like, whatever. Perfect player to spell him. Don't know what's going to happen with the Patriots on defense. Trey Flowers was injured in the last game. Hopefully he doesn't play. Leads the team in sacks. But, like, Gilmore's back. Malcolm Butler, average corner, is back. Chung, McCourty. I don't need to preview this game. Like, it's the Bills. It's the Patriots. The Patriots are going to fill in the seats. The Patriots fans are going to fill in the seats behind the bench. Probably by the end of the game, it's going to be all Patriots fans. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. But I have to pick the Patriots to win the game. I have to. 34-23. There you go. 34-23 Patriots. Guys, let me know how you're feeling. Let me know how you think about the playoff situation, about the Patriots games, about having to play the Patriots twice, about having to play the Dolphins twice, whatever. Hit me up on Twitter. My Twitter handle is the same as my YouTube username. Have a good weekend, guys. As always, Go Bills!